Abobaku. The Abobaku had run again. Dust in his eyes, now dull with sweat and forest grime, his beats clinking against his chest as he stumbled into a strange land. It was called Moku. From the moment he stepped in, he knew something was wrong. The trees were dead. The ground cracked and lifeless. Not even ants crawled. Not a bird sang. The air itself felt hungry. He walked into the empty village square, dazed. Silence. Then, a snap. A net yanked him off his feet. Spears appeared. Drums rolled from behind tattered huts. Thin, wide-eyed villagers crept out like shadows. Or, one licked his lips, this one go sweet well. He resembled the last two we catch, another said. But they were a bit stringy. No matter, an elder grinned. Let's try this one. If he no sweet, we go soak am inside pepper overnight. Abobaku blinked. Wait, what? Before he could say more, they tied him to a tall wooden stake in the center of the village. Women danced around him, all relating and clapping, some carrying salt, others carrying leaves. One even brought a grinding stone and began to crush pepper with joy. A child ran up and offered banana leaves. We go wrap am like the preacher we chopped last week. Abobaku's heart pounded as they lit the firewood under him. Sweat poured down his face. Just as they were about to raise him over the flames, he shouted, "Stop! I was sent to you by your gods." The drum stopped. The elder dropped the seasoning bowl. "I thought you prayed for a solution," Abobaku continued. "And now, look at you. You're about to roast your salvation." The villagers gasped. The chief stepped forward, dropped to his knees. "O messenger, we are sorry. Hunger has clouded our minds." Others followed. "Forgive us. Show us the way. We are ready." Abobaku nodded solemnly, chest puffed, voice deep and holy. "Untie me. Close your eyes. Sit in silence. Meditate, and the answer will be revealed." They did as he said. In a moment, the entire village sat with their eyes closed, humming lowly, arms outstretched in faith. And Abobaku. He untangled his agbada, picked up his beads, tiptoed past the drummers, and ran. He didn't stop running till the cries of, "Thank you, gods," faded behind him. Abobaku ran far from the village of Moku until he reached Mudi, a strange village where nobody walked, and yet everything was plenty. The gods gave them food like rain from the skies. No one cried. No one begged. They danced, played, ate, and slept. Life was sweet like honey. They welcomed Abobaku with wide smiles and open arms. They played a weekly game in Mudi. The weekly game in Mudi is a ritualistic event that blends faith and community. At the heart of this game is a large golden disc, a symbol of the god's judgment, which is spun to select one villager to be sacrificed as appreciation for the free blessings and abundance. However, the rules are simple: the more people gathered, the lesser the chance of being chosen. This game is an eerie tradition where the villagers know that each week, someone must be picked, but they accept it with a calmness born of the abundance and peace that surrounds them. Despite the looming danger, the game is wrapped in a sense of community, as the villagers dance, sing, and live in harmony, believing that by increasing their numbers, they can lower the risk of being selected. The golden disc, an unblinking eye, spins and points to its chosen one, and whoever it lands on must face their fate, an inevitable part of the cycle that governs their idyllic yet haunting world. Abobaku smiled to himself. There are so many people here. Even if I'm picked, it won't be now. I'll enjoy for 3 weeks, then vanish. And enjoy, he did. He ate the finest fruits, danced with the most beautiful women, and slept under skies that sparkled like diamonds. But fate had other plans. At the end of that week, the people gathered. In the center was the choosing game, a large golden disc with sharp eyes painted on it. It spun fast like a whirlwind. Then it slowed. Slower. Slower, until the eye pointed straight at Abobaku. Gasps filled the air. But just before the guards reached him, Abobaku shouted, "Please. One last dance before I go." The crowd, lovers of fun, agreed. He leapt into the middle and danced, spinning wildly, laughing loud. Then, in the middle of a spin, he kicked sand into the guard's eyes and dashed into the woods behind the hill. He ran and ran, the sound of drums fading behind him. Abobaku had escaped again. He didn't stop running. His heart was beating fast. His legs were tired, but he kept going. All he wanted was to find somewhere safe, somewhere no one knew him. As he moved through the thick forest, something caught his eye. Lying in the bushes was a large wild animal. It wasn't old or rotten. In fact, it looked like it had just died. He walked closer and saw that it had been shot, maybe just a few minutes ago. He looked around. No hunter. No one in sight. Maybe the hunter killed many and went to bring help to carry them, Abobaku thought. His stomach growled. He was very hungry. So he said to himself, let me drag this one to a village and cook it before the owner comes back. After some time, he reached a small village called Ipio. As soon as the people of Ipio saw him pulling the big dead animal, they were amazed. They ran out, shouting and clapping. Wow! What a strong man! He killed this beast with his bare hands. Look, no cutlass, no spear, nothing. Abobaku was surprised, but when he saw the way they praised him, he smiled proudly. He didn't tell them the truth. He simply nodded and said, yes. I fought it myself. The people danced around him and gave him food and drink. They called him names like Lion Killer, Fearless One, and Strong Spirit. Later that evening, the village elders came to him. Great warrior, they said, we are going to war tomorrow. We want you to lead our fighters. You are the bravest man we've ever seen. Abobaku's mouth went dry. He was scared, but he couldn't say no. He had already claimed to be a mighty warrior. Backing out now would make him look like a liar or a coward. The next morning, the whole village was ready. Drums were beating. Young men held weapons. The crowd waited for their new hero. But just before they left for war, Abobaku raised his hand. Please, he said, let me go into the forest to speak to my gods. I must pray before the battle. The people agreed. Yes, yes. A brave man must call on his spirits. So Abobaku walked into the forest. And that was the last they saw of him. He didn't come back. He had run again. After running from many villages, the Abobaku found himself wandering again. He was tired, hungry, and scared. Then one day, he reached a strange village called Oken. Something was happening that day. The whole village was alive with music, laughter, and celebration. The Abobaku saw a long line of men standing in front of the palace square. Everyone looked happy, so he thought, whatever they are doing must be good. He joined the queue without asking too many questions. A few people looked at him closely and asked, are you from this land? He nodded quickly and said, yes. I left when I was a child. They believed him. After all, he looked tired like someone who had traveled far. As he moved forward in the line, he listened to the people around him and slowly began to understand what was going on. You see, Oken village had a big problem, too many women, and very few men. So once a year, they held a ceremony. All the single women would come forward, and the men would choose how many they could marry. One woman, two, or more, depending on their strength and wealth. Then the king would bless each man based on how many wives he took. The more wives you took, the more land, houses, and farm tools you were given. When he finally understood what the line was for, he smiled to himself and said, oh. So this is what the queue is about. I came at the perfect time. I have come to help marry the women of the land. When it was the Abobaku's turn, he did not hold back. He boldly said, I will marry 7 women. The people cheered. They were happy. Finally, someone brave and strong, they said. So, he was given 7 wives, a large compound, 3 farms, and a big title. The Abobaku began to live the life of a king. He ate well, dressed well, and smiled every day. Nobody knew his secret. He told everyone that he had returned to settle in his father's land. Everything was perfect, until one day. The king of Oro, the land where Abobaku had run from, came to Okin to visit their king. He had come to return money collected during a gold deal gone wrong. This was the same king Abobaku had run away from. Abobaku had collected money from him to buy gold, but things went badly. He was scammed, and he couldn't face the king again, so he ran. They greeted the king of Oro with respect and settled the matter peacefully. Then the king of Okin said, "My friend, we have a man here who has great experience in the gold business. Maybe he can help you." "Wonderful," said the king of Oro. "Let me meet him." So they called for the man, and who came out? Abobaku. The moment the king of Oro saw him, his eyes widened. "That's him. Catch him." But Abobaku was too fast. He turned and ran, disappearing into the crowd before the guards could catch him. When the king of Okin heard the full story, he was furious. "He is not from our land," he shouted. "He lied. He married 7 of our daughters under false name, and ate our food like a prince." He was not even angry about the gold money. He was angry that a stranger came and fooled them all, then took 7 of their women. He gave the order, "Find him. When you do, bring his head." And so, the Abobaku began to run again. From village to village, with 7 wives left behind, a death sentence on his head, and a lie too big to cover. But the road of a man who refuses to die is always full of strange turns. He ran deep into the night. The path was dark, the moon was weak, and the trees whispered warnings. But Abobaku didn't care, his legs moved like they had no bones. He just wanted to be far, far away. Then suddenly, he saw firelight in the distance. A village. It was quiet. Too quiet. The village called Iten. He stepped into the market square, and there, in the very center, was a large feast laid out. Yam and egusi soup, roasted plantain, peppered snails, and fried chicken. Clay pots of palm wine lined the edges. Everything was still hot. He looked around. Nobody. Not even a single goat or dog. His stomach growled louder than his sense. "Oh, what kind of miracle is this?" he whispered. He took one step closer. Then another. And before long, he was sitting cross-legged, licking his fingers and chewing with both hands like a man possessed. He ate and drank and belched. Then he slept. Right there, in the center of the market square, belly round like a drum. But when Abobaku opened his eyes the next morning, the sky was red. The trees had no leaves. The ground was white, like ash. He was no longer in the village. There were no huts. No drums. No voices. Only shadows moving across the dust. Strange figures. Faces without eyes. Creatures whispering in languages he could not understand. Abobaku looked around in panic. Where am I?" he gasped. A cold wind answered him. Then came a voice, not loud, but deep enough to shake his bones. "You ate what was meant for the gods." And with those words, Abobaku knew. He was no longer among the living. He had entered the land of spirits.